Welcome back to Rope Coaching's YouTube, and today we're going to go over everything slopers, everyone's favorite hold, right? But we're going to go over how to use them, how to have your hips into the wall, different techniques when it comes to training for slopers, if it's wrist strength, positional, all different things, everything slopers. We all know that chalk helps fight off sweat, and it helps us then stick better to holds. But sometimes there can be too much buildup of chalk on a hold. This is where brushing a hold helps to have more friction. Slopers are super important to make sure they're clean if you want to stick better to them, because you don't have a crimp or crevice that you can get your digits behind and pull down on. You have to rely on the friction of your skin and your body position to hang on them, to be able to stay on the wall versus digging your fingers in and crimping on it. So before I try this red one behind me, I'm going to make sure the holds are nice and clean. I'm going to brush them, and then I'm going to blow off the excess chalk. And then yes, I will chalk up to get the sweat off my skin before climbing on it. Look at all that chalk coming off. And I'm going to give it a nice little gentle blow. Wow. That was dirty, which I think means it's a popular climb. Now that our holds are nice and clean, and I have my chalk, I'm going to attempt this red one. And as I'm climbing it, I want you to take notice of how close my hips are into the wall, the direction I'm pulling down on the holds, and how close. The closer you can get your body into the wall, the less you're going to be fighting gravity. And it's super important on slopers, because if I started to come away from the wall, especially with my arms, that directional force is going to go outwards versus down, and I'm able then to hold on to them if I'm just underneath them. So we'll go over it more after I'm done climbing it, but I want you to take notice of my body position, my hand position, and how I'm hanging under them versus trying to pull out or up onto them. Kind of a fun little compy style one with some toe hooks and stuff. So as I did this red one, probably noticed a few things. One, like I said, my hips are going to stay close to the wall, and even when my feet cut on a couple moves, I didn't then freak out and try to pull up on the hold. I allowed my hips still to stay under, even with my feet they're not on anything, and then my elbows stayed underneath my wrist. So even if my shoulder was a little bit engaged, I never went like this. I still stayed like this. And yeah, that's super important. So when you're trying to hang on slopers, even if your feet are cutting, make sure that you don't panic and then try to pull up on the sloper. It's going to make it so much worse, and your directional force is going to go outward versus staying underneath it.
Okay, so as Alex mentioned, it's all about directional force. We're going to link another video where we discuss that in more detail, but it's about being 90 degrees. However, it's to do with the elbow, so we want to be underneath it, like Alex said, shoulder engaged. The problem is, most of us when we climb and as we get stronger, we try and pull our way up the wall, and we're going to pull our chest in front of the hold, and what follows is the elbow flares out, you lose connection with the wrist, and then you're pulling out rather than downwards. The other thing people do a lot is crimp them. Sometimes we can warrant crimping at the back of a sloper, but it's all about surface area, maximizing the skin in contact. And the sloper really dictates that. Some slopers warrant a wider hand separating, some warrant closed grip like this one. And also the thumb is really important as a connection point. Without the thumb in connection with the hold, you're more likely to flare and then lose any contact, or we call it an anchor point, any contact with this sloper. So it's really important to try and see where the sloper wants your thumb to be. And it may change whilst moving on it. But really keeping that elbow as close to the wall as possible, mirroring this contour, is really important.
All right, for the starting position, my right foot is not the best angle to make this move all that easy. So I'm gonna have to pull over on the right foot to keep my hips into the wall. So it's pulling over here so that I have tension on this left arm. You see how my hips are close in and I'm underneath the hold. I have to match real quick, but I'm gonna have to do a little pop to the left hand for the next hold. And even when I cut my feet, I still have my hips into the wall. And still here, I'm hanging underneath. To go to the next hold, I'm going to use a little momentum. But then when I get it, and that was a very subconscious thing when my other foot went to flag and hit the wall to stop my momentum. Again, I'm going to use momentum to go to this hold because the left one I'm on right now is not very good. So my hips are in, sag and go. And then I want to be underneath it. As I caught the hold, I didn't pull up with my right hand. Actually, I just sagged underneath it and transferred my weight over. Every time I catch a hold, I like to try to go straight arm as much as possible, with hips into the wall, keeping that directional force underneath all the holds. So right now I want to demonstrate what happens if I pull up and try to walk off to the next hold, because this is the worst sloper on the climb. It's getting worse and worse. So the more I try to actually pull up and lock off, my directional force is going outward and my chest is coming up higher on it. So my arms will be like this versus being comfortable and below it. Now I want to demonstrate one more thing. So what happens if my knees go into the wall, my butt goes away from the wall, then I start to come out again versus being underneath the hold. So the two things that would be very negative in that situation is to, one, pull up on top of the sloper, makes it so much worse. Also, if my hips are away from the wall, which then I always like to say you're fighting gravity. So if your hips are away from the wall, no matter what the hold is, it's always going to be worse. So having the hips in, and especially for the sloper, being underneath it is always going to be better. As you may have noticed while climbing on a lot of slopers, it really gets the wrist and the elbows. So Robin's going to show you some different exercises that you can do to help strengthen your wrist, your flexors, and your extensors so that you can get better at...
Okay, we're going to take a short break just to talk about our COROS watches again. So COROS wearable technologies. In the last video that we did with COROS, we created 3 different warm-ups for beginners, intermediate, and advanced climbers. Now we're going to link that video in the description below, and also with the article, which you can just click on, go to your training hub, and download them to your watches. But in this video, we're going to show you how to create your own sessions, because off the back of the last video, we got a lot of requests basically saying, how do you create your own strength sessions? So this video is going to show you that, and then how easy it is to upload to your watch and then follow along. It's great, we do literally every session now. So without further ado, I'll take you to the training hub and show you how to create your own session. Okay, well, welcome back to the Training COROS dashboard. So obviously this is where all of the information is, tracking your training. The Evo Lab metrics is great because you can see your training load over time, the intensity trend, the load impact, the base fitness going up. And you can obviously see when you train more and when you have rest weeks, which is brilliant. Today, though, off the back of the last video, we're going to look at calendars and how to create sessions. So this is what we're going to do today, and I've already uploaded some stuff, so I'm going to delete it and show you how to do it. So it's as simple as, if you've got pre-created workouts, then you can just drag and drop. So today, Alex and I are going to be sport climbing. So last time we created these warm-ups for you guys, and we're going to take this one, for example, the advanced warm-up routine, drag and drop. So now all I would do is go into my app, refresh it, and it will connect to my watch. Then I can connect to my watch, and you'll see that shortly. But let's create a new workout. So create workout. Today we're going to be jumping on a rope, like I said, and we're going to be doing doubles. So if I go to here, strength for now, COROS are really invested in climbing, which is great and why we're working with them. And you will start to see a climbing specific workout option here. which will change the algorithms with heart rates and everything, which is great. But let's do roped doubles. This is going to be, what I'm going to write here is 4 to 6 sets of roped doubles, RPE 6 to 8 out of 10, that's the max effort level, resting for 3 to 5 mins between sets. So essentially for your partner to climb, it could be a little bit more, that's okay. Here we go to create exercises, roped doubles, description, 2 routes back to back at RPE 6 to 8 out of 10, and that will be pump can go higher, resting like we just said, 3 to 5, resting 3 to 5 minutes. So which parts of the body? It's going to be whole body, that dictates the muscle group, and it's going to be off on the wall, so it'll be other. Save. So now here, all we would do is go to training, we go to custom, and you'd look for root doubles. So here we're going to say that there's going to be reps, 2 reps per set, and then it's going to be up to 6 sets, so we'll do this. Resting is going to be, we'll go on the longer side, so it'll be 5 minutes, 0.5, and then we'll make that 0.0. So that's 5 minutes rest, body weight stuff. Save. So now, after I've done our warm up, all I would do is drag that into there, and then the next thing you'll see is me uploading that to my watch. Okay, so once we've done that, what we're going to do is just go to your COROS app, and all you need to do is literally refresh it. And in the top left corner, you'll see the watch, and it's basically syncing data. So all of the data so far today, it'll sync into it. Now, all I need to do now is essentially go onto my watch, open it up. So click on this session, find strength training, or you can go to your calendar. I always just go to strength sessions, and it will say start the workout for today. You press click go, and that is your session started. So without further ado, we'll take you to the training aspect of this video. Okay, so the supplementary training to help strengthen those wrists. Wrists are so important, and your elbow health with slopers. So isometrics, holding a position statically, holding a kind of a dumbbell heavier. You can, on slopers, we're going to basically be in this position. So you could choose to have your thumb underneath this. You can have on top as well. And you just hold this position. So a slightly heavier weight. You're going to feel it if you go towards your thumb a little bit more. That will get the TFCC side of things, the ulnar side. But you're going to hold it for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 5 to 6 sets of those, and you do it on both sides. You can do it, for example, with a kettlebell, maybe slightly lighter, but you put the kettlebell so it's pointing outwards. It's a harder exercise. It relies on grip strength, but also the wrist is really important too. Now, for the complete health and your extensors, you can do the other way, so pronated, palm facing down. Same kind of length and reps and sets. Another thing you may have seen on YouTube more recently is this device. Now, this is really good for strengthening wrists, and you can go for a heavier weight with essentially the device wants to do this to your wrist. So it's really good for developing wrist strength. Again, to make it more applicable to slopers, you just remove the thumb from the scenario, so you're squeezing in. That's a great exercise. Again, 10 to 15 second holds. And then you can train the other side, it just needs to be a lot lighter because it'll rip it this way. So it really relies on that strength. So you would drop the weight. I'll do that now. So this is half the weight. That was 90 pounds before and felt fairly easy. And this is with it rotating, so it wants to do this. So again, with slopers, we want to curve our wrists, bring our elbows in. So this is just as applicable. Thumb removed from the scenario, half the weight, so 45 pounds. And it's really gonna get that elbow, the flexors, and really help you kink that wrist. So all of these are great training tools to help you get better at slopers.
Thank you for watching our YouTube episode on slopers, and we hope you found this useful for yourself. If you like this content and you want more, then please click like and subscribe. But also a big shout out to Movement Dallas. This gym is amazing, and thank you for letting us use your awesome facility.